Okay, here we go. Dinim class number, I guess 3 by now, right? Class number 3.
3 it is.
Here with James Rogers. Go ahead and give me a reading on 74B. You should see on the page, they asked a question from Rabbi Ami. Do you see that in English?
Isaac said in Rob's name, 74b, it was asked of Rabbi Ami, is a Noahide bound to sanctify the divine name or not?
Ben Noach mitzvah al kiddushis Hashem, or is that what it says, or not? Okay, so it's actually missing from here. O ein mitzvah al kiddushis Hashem, or not commanded on kiddushis Hashem, meaning to die or give yourself for the sake of heaven. I'm going to unpack this later. I mean, there is what to unpack, but first I want to read it straight. Keep going.
Abai said, come in here. The Noahides were commanded to keep 7 precepts.
Sheva mitzvahs nitztavu Bnei Noach.
Now, if they were commanded to sanctify the divine name, they are right. Rabbah said to him, them, and all pertaining thereto.
Wait, that's a weird English. Why is he saying that? Hold on. No hydrophonic keep. So now, if they were commanded, no, they're 8. So it's blurry print. 8. You see it?
Yes.
Yeah. So how do you say Isa? It literally means come. If you're bringing that to the table, so to speak, Timnei Havin, they're 8. Because there are 7 laws of Noah. If a Noahide is to give his life to that cause, sanctifying God's name, then there are not 7 laws of Noah that you die for. There are 8. That's a problem. We can only have 7. Keep going.
There are 8. Rabbi said to him, okay, what is the decision? Rabbi Abba said, the disciples of the Rab said, it is written in this thing, the Lord pardon thy servant, that when thy master goeth into the house of Rimmon to worship there, and he leaneth on my hand, and I bow myself in the house of Rimmon.
Okay.
Next page.
Let me just see how that English works out. This is where the Aramaic gets thick on my side. Hold on. Rava, where's Rava? Where's Rava? Rava said to him, no, we got to go back. I think you skipped Rava. If you did, I didn't hear it. Go back to just after, read the part just after 8.
Rabbah said to him, them, and all pertaining thereto.
Stop.
Oh, okay.
Say it again slowly. I want to follow along slow.
Rabbah said to him, them, and all pertaining thereto.
So Rava said them and all pertaining to them. Right, so he's saying don't call it an 8th mitzvah. Call it 7, and there's reason to self-sacrifice over all 7. And we are going to do this in the commentary, so I want to just keep reading. So, all right, now you read the Davar Hazeh. So where is this coming from? It's a verse, Gimel. It's in Malachim, Kings 2, 5:18. What James read was Kings 2, 5:18. And then we are going to read another verse, Kings 2, 5:19. James, continue. Load the next page. Don't load it. We're going to come back to it. Just read it. There's no reason to load it.
And it is written, and he said unto him, go in peace.
Yeah, keep on.
Now, if it be so that a Noahide is bidden to sanctify the divine name, he should not have said this. The one is private, the other public.
If he should, say that again. The English is a little funny here. Say it again slow.
Now,
now,
if it be so,
the Im Isa, if it's so,
in parenthesis, that a Noahide is bidden to sanctify the divine name.
Yeah, that's not in mine, but you need to know that's what we're talking about. Go ahead.
He should not have said this.
Lo lamele. Elisha should not have said to Naaman this. Though I will unpack all this. I know we're vague here. Keep going.
The one is private, the other public.
Okay, so what he's saying is, you gave a challenge, yet we know that this is true. What's the answer? I know this is a total code I'm giving you. It's not supposed to make sense. Bear with me. The answer is either in private or in public. And that's where it stops. Okay. Okay, ready to get inside? That's the fog. Remember, in Mishlei, embrace the fog. We asked a question. Does a Noahide sanctify God's name in the face of a threat? I'm going to kill you, or you're going to be immoral, right? Do you give your life for that? Sanctifying God's name. Do you have to sanctify God's name? It's a question. After it's presented as a question, is it a valid question? Otherwise, there's 8 commandments, and we know there are 7. Or the answer may be, it's still 7. Each one of those 7, maybe it carries this self-sacrificing nature. So are we, if the concept exists, and granted that it exists, does that mean that there's kind of a quasi-8th? There's like more to do beyond the 7? Or is it intrinsic, the svara of in each of the 7, there's like, I don't want to say halacha, there's room to understand the scope of the mitzvah. Remember we're talking about, we want to know the scope of the mitzvah, the dinim. Is there a din to give your life for any one of the 7 laws? Or are we saying it's a general swooping question? Does the Noahide give his life to serve God? Do you hear the 2 different ways we're asking the question?
Yes.
Yeah? Okay. So now let's go ahead. Before I get into Rashi Tosfos, let's now, so that they ask that, and then they bring a verse. The verse is brought from Kings 2, 5, 18, and 19. The case of Naaman and Elisha. Does anybody, James, do you have a Tanakh handy?
I when I'm online, I often go to Mechan Mamre.
Okay, please go and read a straight reading of Kings 2, chapter 5, verses 18 and 19, and just read them, those 2 verses together.
In this thing, the Lord pardon thy servant. When my master goeth into the house of Rimmon to worship there, and he leaneth on my hand, and I prostrate myself in the house of Rimmon. When I prostrate myself in the house of Rimmon, the Lord pardon thy servant in this thing. And he said unto him, Go in peace. So he departed from him some way.
So you got Naaman. Everybody knows Naaman from World of the Ger, right? Our good friend Naaman.
Mm-hmm.
Naaman is your consummate Ger Toshav. That should, all flashing bulbs should go off right when I said that, but we're going to visit this. He is your halakhic Ger Toshav. If Hulk Hogan is a wrestler in WWF, not my kind of wrestling, but then Naaman is a Ger Toshav. Classic. Cliche and classic. And he gets leprosy. He calls for the prophet of Israel. Elisha comes, and Naaman says, hey, Elisha, now that I'm a kosher Ger Toshav, My boss is an idolater. Am I allowed to prostrate, to not offend him and upset him, but I'll think about HaKadosh Baruch Hu when I do it? Elisha says, go in peace. You're ger, you got klipa around there. Go be ger and do what you got to do and live long and prosper. Don't forget about God. 1 or 2. You guys with me? So that's what we say to the answer to this question. But it doesn't seem to answer the question. So the Talmud says, okay, but why would, whatever, I don't know. But let's ask a different question, the Talmud says. Why did Elisha say, go in peace? Number one, Elisha didn't say you should rather take the sword than do what is perceivable as idolatry. 1 or 2. So he should kill himself. But he didn't say it. He said, go in peace. So maybe you don't give your life for mitzvahs. But he didn't just say yes or no. He said, why did he say to go in peace? It doesn't make sense. Like on any level. So the Talmud answers, one is in private, one is out in the open. There is when you're being threatened to do a crime in private and in front of 10 people with witness. So Naaman went in private, 1 or 2. Therefore, you don't give your life in private. But if they would have held him in town square, hey, let's taunt the Ger Toshav, then maybe there is an aspect of giving your life out in the open. Understand? So how do we understand the question? James, I'll ask you. What is I'll get that. It's called the Shakel V'Tarya. The Shakel V'Tarya of the Talmud. The give and take, the flow, back and forth. James Rogers, what's our first question?
From the previous.
Yeah, the whole flow of this discussion. What was our first question?
What is the decision, Rabbi?
First question.
Go ahead.
Yeah, first question. Follow along. First question: do we give our life for God? First question. Got it? Nah, I wouldn't say an 8th mitzvah. Not yet. Just first the question: do we give our life to God? 1 or 2. But if we give our life to God, or granted there is maybe to give our life to God, it's not definitive. Don't be definitive. Would that, or you could actually call that a havamina. If I had a havamina to give my life to God, can I do that? Is that possible to even think such a thought? That's the Talmud's second question. That's called a kasha smuya. The hidden challenge. Is it allowed to think that thought? Here, can we give ourselves to life and death? Is it allowable to even think that thought? With me? Why would I even think that thought? That's how the Talmud comes back. Why would you think such a thought? It could be it's an 8th mitzvah, and then it's wrong. You had a stupid thought. I wouldn't call it a stupid thought. Maybe each one of the 7 has with it the din of what you perceive as an 8th mitzvah. So there's only 7 mitzvahs. They're just bigger and more scope than you said. Okay, well, what's the answer? That's the next question. What's the answer? Okay, I hear it. What's the answer? The answer is Naaman and Elisha through 2 verses. So we see the answer is no, you should not give yourself to death. Then the Talmud says, if that's the answer, why would Elisha tell him to go in peace? Yeah, go serve idols. So it's okay. Then the Talmud resolves where it's okay is in private, where it's not okay is in public. So then we go back full circle. Do we give our lives to somebody making us do a sin? If it's in private, let's say I had to sleep in a church tonight because it got rough. And I'm the head of the Ger Council. And then they took pictures. Look, Rabbi Katz, the Ger, the head of the council, he stays in a church. He really is a secret Christian. Well, Rabbi Katz has a private life, and he got kicked out of his last place, and times are hard. What can you do? When he's there, he's being a ger, and you don't judge a person by where he sleeps. But if there was 100 people in the town, and they said, Rabbi Katz, be immoral for us. We want to see what you sin with immorality. Then you give your life. You don't say, well, go to peace, Rabbi Katz. Go to town. Have fun with your sin. This is your lucky day. You give your life for that one. Now, it's not preferable to go to church, but if I say I'm going to kill you or go to church, okay, I'm going to church. What can I do? I'm going to sleep in my little dormitory, but you're not going in front of the what do you call it? The sanctuary and taking part of the service. That goes back to being public. It's that when you're living your own life and someone threatens you and it doesn't get any public airtime, well, then you keep your mind and heart with God, and you do what you do in private. Okay. So now I'm going to save the big chiddush for the end. Keep me on the time, James. Let me know when you got to go. First, we want to look at Rashi. Remember, that's our role. We're looking at Rashi. Rashi. Kol midi d'shayach b'hu. Kedushas Hashem shayach b'hu. Like kol midi d'shayach b'hu. Kedushas Hashem shayach b'hu. All the things that are shayach for one of the mitzvahs. I don't know if this is a din, what I'm about to say, but let's pretend it is. In Judaism, there's a mitzvah to return a stolen item. If I steal from you, I have a mitzvah to return it, type 1. So I don't know if the Noahide law of stealing has that mitzvah. I don't know. But let's pretend it does. So I would say then, if stealing is one of the 7 laws not to do, then in the scope of don't steal, you have a mitzvah to return what you steal. Right? I don't know if that's the law, but you understand my logic? That stealing would carry with it more things. So all the things that are in the 7 and sanctifying God's name is shayach. It's tangible to each of the 7. De'im omer lo la'avor al oisin mitzvahs, o yaharig. If I say go sin or kill, de'im lo yakarish es Hashem ya'avor aleihin. If you don't give yourself to death, you will sin. Therefore, hai nami b'chlalinhu. God forbid the Noahide would sin. So the Havamina is you would give your life for not sinning. It's a Havamina. It's an I would have maybe thought. Everyone know Havamina? Maybe I would have thought to do that. I'm not sure. Maybe. I don't know. Could be I'm supposed to give my life for that. I don't know. Okay. L'davar hazeh. What's that word? L'davar hazeh. L'davar hazeh. L'davar hazeh. Okay, they're bringing proof from Naaman, type 1. Ma'acher shekabal alav namin shelo la'avod avodas chaychavim. Just after Naaman accepted on himself to not serve idols, Amar lo le'Elisha le'davar zeh. Elisha said to him, and he said to Elisha, may God forgive me to your servant that I'm going to be anus. I don't know what that word anus is, saying tested or going. B'davar she Adoni nishan al yadev. This is quoting the verse. I don't know the exact translation in front of me, but what James said in the verse, I'm going to my master, and it's going to look like I'm an idolater, but I'm not. And Elisha said, go in peace. It's okay. That is not a transgression, and therefore you don't have to die. Why don't you have to die? Because it's not a transgression. Why is it not a transgression? Because you're doing it in private. Therefore, you didn't transgress. If he was serving his, yeah, exactly. If you would have been told to serve the idol in the open, then yeah, I would have told you not go in peace, and you got to give your life. You with me so far? All right. Now, the top of the next page. Rashi, if it is so that a Ben Noach is cautioned on giving his life, lo neim alei lech l'shalom. If I give my life not to transgress, why are you telling me to go to peace and transgress? The mashmid the hodelo. It sounds like Elisha said, yeah, go sin and have fun in Sodom. That he should go. Lo haya mitzvot. Okay, here's the answer. Ready? It's that Elisha is not commanded to reprove Naaman, because it says in the verse, Vayikra 19, you will surely rebuke your nation, your fellow kin. It's written. And velo ger toshav, but not a ger toshav. You understand that? A Jew is to rebuke a Jew and not a ger toshav. So if Naaman was Jewish, we would have rebuked him. Don't go sin. That's horrible. But since he's not Jewish, we say go sin and have a fun time. That's called a havamina. Are you aware of the fact that I'm telling you a havamina? Please type 1. We're saying, is this really what Elisha said? Could it be? Just because he's not Jewish, he said go to peace and sin? So really, it has nothing to do with the Noahide law? However, Oiduya ledavar iser lo lividui. Bitsna, in hidden or private, after the Talmud gave the answer, Naaman was in private when he was subordinate to God. And by the sanctification of God, betoch Bnei Yisrael, it's written, afilu nitztavu Bnei Noach alea lo nitztavu lekinshu betoch akutim ela betoch Yisrael. What does that mean? Gabe Kedushas Hashem. 1 second. Shehu Hashem, Gabe Kedushas Hashem betoch Bnei Yisrael. Wait a minute. It's the same law for a Jew as it is for a non-Jew. As it's written. Even also a Ben Noach is commanded. Lo nitztavu l'kadsho b'toch akutim. Oh, wait. Hold on. What is this? Wait. Naaman mitznah hava shehu mishtachave l'Hashem. Ugabe kedushas Hashem b'toch Bnei Yisrael. Sieve. Rafila nitztavu Bnei Noach alea. Lo nitztavu l'kadsho b'toch akutim. Wait a second. V'filu nitztavu Bnei Noach alea. Okay. Naaman was commanded like a Jew in this. There's three categories: a Jew, a Ben Noach, and a Kuti. The Kutim are not. I mean, here it's kind of like a goy or an idolater. It's someone not really commanded. The Kutim took on. They're the Gerim Grurim, right? The Messianic Jews, so to speak. Ela b'toch Yisrael. All right, hold on. Naaman b'tzna hava shehu b'shtav l'Hashem v'gabi kedushas Hashem b'toch b'nei Yisrael ksiv v'filu nistavu b'nei Noach alei lo nistavu. No, there's many layers to this Rashi. Hold on. Lo nistavu l'kacho, lo nistavu l'kacho b'toch akutim. Okay, that's it. Also, so the Ben Noach gives his how you say it? He's not commanded to just generally give his life. Oh man, how do you say that? There's many layers of this. This is Naaman b'tzna hava. Naaman b'tzna hava. Below hayu Yisrael. So Naaman. Okay, then I got it. That's part of the line here. Naaman was in private, and there was no Israel in Ramon. Now we got it. That he was sanctifying God where there were no Jews. Ugabe kedushas Hashem b'toch bnei Yisrael ksiv. Ugabe kedushas Hashem b'toch bnei Yisrael ksiv. V'filu nitztavu b'nei Noach aleya lo nitztavu l'kadsho b'toch akutim. Okay, where there's only non-Jews, the Noahide is not commanded to sanctify God. Where there's Jews, he is commanded to sanctify God. But that's going but in public, I think it's always obligated to give your life. The Rashi doesn't bring that, but I know that's the answer. In public, you give your life. In private, the nafkamina, remember that word nafkamina? Right? We're saying in private, because Naaman was in private. Do you give your life in private? In the open, everyone agrees. In private amongst Goyim, no. In private amongst Jews, yes. Naaman was amongst non-Jews, the Kutim. That's the din. We can look it up in the Rambam, but before we go there, I want to mention two things. The game, set, and match. When somebody knows Ger code, we're going to call that, there's expressions in Ger code. Mitzvoya l'chiyuso, or mitzvah v'osei. There is commanded in doing and not commanded in doing. Right? We're saying the Ger Toshav, who swears before three guys, takes on the level called commanded and does. Mitzvah v'osei. One who is not a Ger Toshav, right? He listens to divine code and says we don't take Ger Toshav today wrongly, and he's basically a Noahide, and he never gets serious, even though today he's allowed to get serious. He is called not commanded and does. He is not commanded and does. Here, what we're saying is Ben Noach mitzaveh al kedushas Hashem o ein mitzaveh al kedushas Hashem. Now the question got three-dimensional. We're saying a Ben Noach who's commanded and does. right? He testified for 3 guys. He's a full-fledged Noahide on the highest level. Does he have to die now on Kiddush Hashem? It's a good question, isn't it? Totally different question now. Once I go before 3 in a Beis Din, even today, and I am commanded and does, do I now have to give my life? And if I give my life, what's the din? Meaning, do I give my life in private amongst Jews? The whole, the kutim? Like what? To what extent? What are my options now? Do you hear the questions in din now? What are my options? What do I do? Or, ein matzave al kiddush Hashem. What if I'm not commanded in doing? I'm not commanded in doing. Do I now have to give my life? So see how they're 2 radically different points of view. I'm commanded and I do. Do I have to give my life, and to what extent? But if I'm not commanded in doing, what level does self-sacrifice play a part in my life? Not because of the law of self-sacrifice, because I'm not commanded in doing. So do you see how the ikr changed? The subject changed. The thrust changed. It has nothing to do with self-sacrifice. If I am a Ben Noach commanded in doing, does that carry even this level of observance that I'm like seriously religious now? And if I then refrain from that being level of observance, am I still, by being a kosher Noahide, really serious and religious? How much religion do I have to go? Based on if I'm serious or not serious. And if I am serious, and I'm serious because I accepted the 7, why would I have to do an 8th mitzvah? We know that there's only 7. Russell Kirk will tell you 7 plus 1 equals ger. This is the source of that. But how do you resolve that contradiction? Or maybe there's not an 8th or a whole other mitzvah because I'm commanded in doing. No, and Ger Toshav can take on more laws. So this is one new law amongst many I can do, right? I'm 7, I'm legit, and I want to maybe I have to do another mitzvah now. Maybe Ger Toshav means I have to do more mitzvahs. You hear the questions? 1 or 2. Or maybe 7 is 7 is 7. I don't want to do any more mitzvahs. I'm not Jewish. And maybe that means that I have to really be serious about my 7. So if I get a death penalty, not like Din Yisrael, because I'm not a Ger Toshav, I'm not commanded in doing, therefore should I uphold God's honor if you get me to sin? So the answer, you hear now how all the questions are about now? That right now we are in din flux. The dinim now are going everywhere. Do you see how the dinim are out of control? What is the din? The reason why you're out of control is not because of the question. The answer is, what kind of ger are you? That's going to be the final answer. What kind of ger are you? The answer is naman. Naman is commanded in doing. How do I know that? He's a ger toshav. So thereby we're saying, does he have to give his life? And Elisha said, apparently you should go sin. We say, really? That's kind of strange. This hardcore from ger toshav, he can just sin like that? after commanded and doing? The answer is you are commanded and doing, you're going to a place that's not called sin. If it was a place called sin, you would have to give your life. So the Ger Toshav has to know what kind of Ger am I, and then he has to know, as a Ger I am, where am I that I am a Ger? One or two. What kind of Ger am I? Where am I as a Ger? Am I a Ger here? Or am I just a person? I.e., is there Din Shel Ger Toshav here? Or is there not Din Shel Ger Toshav here? You are not a Ger Toshav. That is a status. That is no such thing as I am a this or that. It's coordinates and algorithms. I am standing here with idolaters. Where am I? Who am I? Well, I did go before a Beis Din. I am standing before idolaters. What am I right now? Am I a Ger Toshav who could be sinning, or am I Bob? Etc., etc. Exactly. What is the situation? And it is not, am I a Ger Toshav or am I not a Ger Toshav? It's saying, what is the din to me? Do I have din Yisrael as a Ger Toshav? Do I have the din of a Ben Noach commanded in doing? The din of a Ben Noach not commanded in doing, based on what I had previously done, etc., etc. The din is your brain thinking in real time, what does the Torah demand of me? James Rogers, before you leave, what's our big problem here? The question was, does a Ben Noach give his life for God? That was the unrefined question. Then we opened it up, did we not? We answered it up, did we not? And what was the answer? Naaman went and did what he did. Huh? A Ben Noach, does he give his life? And you answered the question with the Ger Toshav, thanks to Rashi. Thank you. Another case of a Ben Noach question in Dinim learned out by Ger Torah. End of quote. What do you think about that?
I like it. I like the story.
That's it. The Ger Toshav gives contrast in 3 dimensions to the question. If you don't know Ger Toshav, you don't understand the Talmud's question. Mitzvah al Kedushas Hashem. That's a Ger Toshav. What we're saying is, do I have to be a Ger Toshav and then by act like a certain way of a Ger Toshav? Or can I be a Noahide and yet still have Din Shel Ger Toshav in my life? Once you have those coordinates, oh man, it's endless. There's so many dots you can connect in each way. And the halacha is in the Rambam. Let's go ahead and look it up real quick before you go, if you don't mind. Daled Rambam, chapter 10, Hilchos Malachim, 10:2 and Hilchos Malachim. And I wanted to do this last week with the halacha, but I didn't. I hope you'd learn it on your own time. Here we go. We learned it. What does the Rambam say? What's the din in 10:2? A Ben Noach who is forced or pressed to transgress one of his mitzvahs, he is allowed to sin. If it's avodah zarah, lefi she'ena mitzvoyin al kedushas Hashem, that he's not commanded for the sake of heaven, certainly he's lo onshin mehen, lo katan v'lo cheresh v'lo shote lefi she'ena bnei mitzvahs. People that are not bnei mitzvahs do not have to give their life. So feeling there's a lot of lefi she'ena mitzvoyin. One second. Ben Noach shasu lavor al chas mitzosav mutter lo lavor lefil. Yeah. So everybody is allowed to sin. A Ben Noach. And the question is going to become Ben Noach here is not Ger Toshav. As we learned, it's not that clear. So Rambam is poskening Let me just double check. It should be the second opinion, not the first, i.e. not like Naaman. And the answer is exactly. The Rambam is going the law according to the Noahide. The Noahide does not come under the Din Ger Toshav, but it does not remove the fact we only understood the context from Ger Torah, and we know that there is Din Shel Ger Toshav to someone who is commanded to doing like Ger Toshav. What we're saying is Din Shel Ger Toshav, the Din of Ger Toshav, does not fall on the Noahide. He is not commanded to doing. Does he have to give his life? No. He does not have Din Ger Toshav. Only a Ger Toshav has Din Ger Toshav. Thank you very much.